Chapter 10. When Arcadia Shifted. Lunch was a time for full stomachs and wandering minds. The children sat eagerly, their plates half finished as they listened to Lilla's voice. She spoke of Arcadia, of its golden age, and of the first signs of its decline. It was when the goddess of dragons last visited, she began. When she came, the skies roared with her song. She was one of the few gods who wandered freely, who followed her own whims rather than the expectations of the divine. But that time, it was different. The children leaned in, eyes wide. She arrived to meet the creator, as she often did, Lilla continued. But something in Arcadia had changed. The city had stopped. Dietro furrowed his brows. Stopped? Lilla nodded. Arcadia always moved, rolling across the land like a great beast, never settling in one place for too long, but then its course shifted. It began to avoid certain paths, certain places. It never neared the Emerald Valley again. The children shivered at the name. The Valley of Mages, Kashua murmured. Wasn't that where the strongest wizards lived? Yes. Lilla's voice darkened. And where they lost themselves. The whispers started quietly. That Archduke Eos, one of Arcadia's greatest minds, had fallen ill. That his duties had passed to the Crystal Duchess, a woman few truly knew. Then came the odd visitors. Mages from the Emerald Valley, their robes shimmering with enchantments, speaking in hushed tones with the city's leaders. And then the malfunctions began. Arcadia's androids vanished in the night. Its machines faltered, some shutting down completely, others behaving in ways they were never designed to. The gods themselves began to change. Order became tyranny, twisting laws into chains, enforcing decrees that made no sense. Commands for control, not for justice. Magic became obsession, its scholars pushing boundaries, experimenting at any cost. And the Emerald Mages? They were no longer seen as scholars, Lilla said. They became madmen, dangerous. Ollie swallowed. Why? Lilla hesitated. Because they believed they had found something. A pause. They believed they could create true life. The air in the small room felt heavier. And then, when it all seemed lost, when Arcadia teetered on the edge of a madness it could not contain, a girl from the city did the impossible. She created a soul not born but made, the first artificial soul. And from that moment, Arcadia's fate was sealed. The children sat in stunned silence, their half-eaten lunches forgotten as Lilla's words settled over them like a heavy mist. Chiron, always the curious one, was the first to break the silence. But what does that even mean? How do you make a soul? Lilla smiled faintly. That was the question all of Arcadia asked, she said. Even the gods themselves. Kashua frowned. But souls come from the gods, don't they? Yes, that is the way of things, Lilla admitted. Or at least it was, until her. Who? Nika asked, hugging her knees. The girl who changed everything, Lilla answered. Her name is forgotten, lost in the collapse of Arcadia, but what she did was remembered. She found a way to shape energy so perfectly that it could mimic a soul, so closely that even the divine took notice. It was not a true soul, nor was it false. It was something new. Argia fidgeted. So, was she a hero? Lilla sighed. That depends on who you ask. The children exchanged uneasy glances. Dietro, usually quiet, finally spoke. What did the gods do? Lilla's expression darkened. They argued. Some saw the girl's creation as a mockery, an imitation of divine will. Others saw it as progress, a new era unfolding. And then there was creation. The god of creation did not argue, Lilla said. He watched, he studied. And then, after a time, he did something that shocked the heavens. The children leaned in. He blessed her creation, they gasped. He granted it a divine form, gave it a name. And so, from the heart of Arcadia, Arceus was born, the first artificial goddess, the goddess of technology. Ollie, always skeptical, furrowed his brow. So she was a real god? Lilla nodded. She was made divine by the very force that creates all things. She became something beyond machine, beyond mortal understanding, like the first of her kind. But, Chiron hesitated, that should have been good, right? If even creation accepted her? Lilla exhaled slowly. It should have been. The children waited, sensing the weight in her words. But the world does not accept change so easily, she said softly, and neither do the gods. Argia tilted her head, her brow furrowing. Wait, so the god of creation actually liked Arceus? Like, as a daughter? Lilla hesitated. It is hard to say. Some believed he saw her as a protege, a kindred spirit who shared his endless fascination with creation itself. Others whispered that he had made her too perfect, that she was something more than a mere invention in his eyes. Chiron leaned forward, his eyes gleaming with intrigue. So, did the other gods get jealous because she was his favourite? Lila chuckled softly. Perhaps the gods are not immune to jealousy, despite their wisdom. They saw how Arceus and the creator spent weeks, even months, lost in conversation, crafting new designs, debating the nature of existence, dreaming of things that had never been imagined before. It was beautiful, and to some, it was dangerous. Kashua crossed her arms. That doesn't sound fair. Why would they care if they were close? Lila's smile faded, because the creator was never meant to have a favourite. The children exchanged uncertain glances. Nika shifted, chewing her lip. Did Arceus love him back? Lila sighed. I believe she revered him. She was born of Arcadia, of knowledge and progress, and to her the god of creation was everything she wished to become, limitless, eternal, free to shape the world as he pleased. She paused. But love is a complicated thing, even for gods. Ollie tapped his fingers on the table, thinking, so, did the creator protect her when the others got jealous? Lila's expression darkened. He tried, but a god's favour is both a gift and a curse. The room grew silent. Dietro finally spoke, his voice barely above a whisper. What happened to her? Lila exhaled. That is a tale for another time. A chorus of groans filled the room, but Lila only chuckled, shaking her head. No skipping to the end. Stories must be told in order, or you will lose their meaning. The children grumbled, but they knew better than to argue. Still, as they returned to their meal, the air felt heavier, and in the back of her mind, Lila could not shake the memory of what came next.